The stadium buzzed with a strange mix of nerves and electricity. It wasn't just another semi-final, it was Real Madrid versus PSG, a clash of legacy versus ambition, history versus hunger. Everyone expected a battle, but no one expected what would unfold. From the very first whistle, something felt different. PSG didn't just show up to compete. They came to conquer. In just 6 minutes, the entire tone of the match shifted. Real Madrid's defense, usually composed and clinical, made a fatal error. Raúl Asensio miscontrolled the ball deep in his half. Ousmane Dembélé pounced instantly, latching onto the mistake like a predator. His shot was strong, forcing Courtois into a desperate parry. But the ball fell directly to Fabian Ruiz, who calmly slotted it home into an empty net. It was the perfect start for PSG. It wasn't just a goal, it was a message. Before Real Madrid could even process what had happened, they were hit again. 3 minutes later, Antonio Rudiger's sloppy pass was intercepted. Dembélé, this time on the end of it, showed why he's feared across Europe. He danced into the box and fired low past Courtois. It was 2-0 inside 9 minutes. Shock waves ran through the crowd. You could feel the weight drop onto Real Madrid's shoulders. They were drowning, and PSG had just begun. The third goal was a masterpiece of transition football. PSG defended a Real Madrid push and launched a devastating counter. Hakimi, as always, was a blur down the flank. His cross found Fabian Ruiz. Again, the midfielder met it with precision, nodding it in and completing his brace. PSG were flying. Real Madrid were lost. With only 24 minutes gone, it was 3-0. The unthinkable was happening. The first half was an exhibition of domination. PSG controlled possession, dictated pace, and gave Real Madrid no room to breathe. At one point, PSG had over 75% possession. They weren't just better, they were smarter, quicker, and hungrier. The French side pressed with intensity, moved with elegance, and defended with ruthless efficiency. Real Madrid looked nothing like the champions we've known. The midfield was overrun, the defense looked brittle, and Courtois stood alone as their last hope, repeatedly tested and abandoned. In the second half, Real tried to respond. Xabi Alonso made substitutions. Veterans like Modric, Carvajal, and Militao were brought in to stabilize the ship. But the damage had already been done. PSG didn't need to take risks. They just had to keep control, and they did. Ruiz continued to boss the midfield. Ugarte tackled everything that moved. Dembélé was unplayable on the wing. It was as complete a performance as anyone could imagine. Then came the final dagger. In the 87th minute, Gonçalo Ramos came off the bench and added insult to injury. After a slick PSG passing move, the ball found him in space. He calmly placed it past Courtois to make it 4-0. The crowd erupted. The PSG bench went wild, and Real Madrid's players dropped their heads. The final whistle didn't just end a match, it ended an era, at least for that night. PSG didn't just defeat Real Madrid, they humiliated them. They dismantled a footballing empire. Luis Enrique's side had arrived on the global stage not just to participate but to dominate. Fabian Ruiz was named player of the match for his 2 goals and masterful midfield display. Ousmane Dembélé, after battling injuries, returned with a vengeance, scoring 1, assisting another, and looking like the Dembélé we all feared. Hakimi, Ugarte, and Vitinha all shined, each playing their part in a tactical masterclass. Real Madrid's camp was in shock. Thibaut Courtois later apologized to fans, saying the team didn't show up and that they had to ask forgiveness for such a performance. It wasn't just a loss, it was a wake-up call. A team so used to standing at the top was knocked flat. The defense was in disarray, the midfield overwhelmed, and the attack starved of service. They had no answers, no rhythm, and no leadership on the pitch. This result wasn't just about 4 goals. It was about dominance, control, hunger, and ambition. PSG looked like a team ready to take over Europe. With this win, they move into the Club World Cup final to face Chelsea, and they'll go in as favourites. This is a turning point. PSG have been chasing greatness for years. They've had the stars, the budgets, and the hype, but this time, it feels different. This team is not built on individual brilliance. It's built on chemistry, balance, discipline, and trust. Luis Enrique has found the formula. And if this performance is any indication, PSG are no longer just contenders. They're possibly the best team in the world right now. As for Real Madrid, this is a moment for reflection. A moment to look hard at the aging squad, the structure, and the tactical direction. The rebuilding phase must come now, not just with new players, but with renewed purpose. Legends don't stay legends by living in the past. They adapt, evolve, and come back stronger. The drama of football never stops. One day you're on top of the world, and the next you're humbled. But that's what makes this sport so incredible. It's not just about skill, it's about heart, timing, belief, and the courage to rise when you've been shattered. So as we wrap up this unbelievable night, remember this wasn't just PSG beating Real Madrid. This was a statement. A warning. A shift in power. The kings were dethroned, and a new kingdom is rising. What happens next could change football forever. And you can bet we'll be here at Soccer Spender, bringing you every twist, every emotion, and every unforgettable moment. Because nights like these, they're why we love the game.